got bullets.
All right, let's get to what everybody wanted last week.
Yeah,
probably don't want it anymore this week. And this is where Heathendog and I are going to disagree. By the way, guys, when we disagree, we really like to see in chat what people put. It's part of the reason why we do it that way.
Okay,
it's okay.
When you get to the page, tell me.
Yeah, it's like 9,000 pages for the Diabolist.
I know.
Okay, I'm getting to it. There we go. It is PDF page 118. Not going to read the whole thing. In fact, we kind of went on with the Summoner and some of the other O.C.C.s about as deeply as I wanted to go with this. Because I have thoughts.
You go ahead and start.
Okay, I stop wrapping my cable around my leg. So, Diabolists are sometimes called the Magic Scribe. And again, not going to read every little thing here, but I am going to read a lot of it. The Diabolists are about symbols, words, runes, languages. And this is where I don't know if what part Heathendog and I are going to disagree on, but I see that there's a lot of utility with the Diabolist, and you have to think of it as a character with utility. They're obsessed with the study of all symbols, like a wizard from Earthdawn. A symbol being any shape, design, image, or sound that confers a specific meaning. So, languages, cryptography, smoke signals. I guess that would be language, of course, but music. Like people look into the communication of music. Anything that confers a meaning. Colors. In fact, they deal with colors. That's something I learned in graphics. The language behind colors and certain words. So consequently, they are excellent linguists, cryptographers, and scholars. And this is to me where they shine. It's not in the spells. It's here. I don't get spells. Only Diabolists know the secrets of ward magic, runes, and all magic symbols. They also have fundamental. I was thinking something else. They also have a fundamental knowledge of circle magic, which enables them to tell whether a circle is active and what it can do. So a summoning circle can be read by a Diabolist naturally. Wards can be seen and felt by a Diabolist. If you're a thief and you're like, I don't know if that's a fake ward, a real ward that's already been expended, I don't know. A Diabolist can tell you, oh, that one's good. You can open up that box. Don't open that one over there, though. Arrogant and foolish men of arms often chide. Oh, look at this, calling out Heathendog. Well, he stepped away. That's so not fair.
That's not.
Arrogant and foolish men of arms often chide the Diabolist as being, as being a helpless and puny adventurer. Get your RPG Digest mug. What did you put in here? Oh, okay. Making sure I can drink it.
Poison.
That's yay. You know what? I don't know. Arrogant and foolish men of arms often chide the Diabolist as being a helpless and puny adventurer who is more of a liability than an asset. Would you like to defend that now or later?
I would disagree with the word adventurer.
Even though it's italicized?
Even though it's italicized for a reason. They're not adventurers.
That's air quote. Okay.
Not adventurers.
After all, he can't cast spells like a wizard or warlock, nor command a demon minion like the summoner or witch. And most have only the most basic fighting skills. So, I mean, you can get hand-to-hand basics, so yeah. It's true that in a pitched battle, the Diabolist may be at something of a disadvantage. I wouldn't even say maybe, it is. But on an adventure in foreign lands and ancient ruins, especially places of magic, or given the time to defend a strategic position, the Diabolist can be the most valuable member of any group. And this is where I say this is up even more so than the witch, because we just don't like the O.C.C. This is where the game master has to have a play in this. If you're going to be doing forward look, I don't mean exploring, like you're removing that aspect of the game, the exploration, then the Diabolist, you don't want the Diabolist. If you are always going to be on the aggressive, then the Diabolist isn't going to find a fun place there. But in terms of exploration and in terms of defense, the Diabolist is amazing. And so you have your game master either has to see that or tell you don't play the Diabolist. I mean, it's pretty much that simple. And the other thing that I want to note, and I think I'm going to say this later, is game masters, and I've seen this happen. This is why I'm saying this. Stop giving Diabolist powers to other spellcasters. Other practitioners of magic have limited words that they know. Stop acting like those words are shared incessantly. Oh, one wizard to another. Yeah, I'm telling you the words. No, wouldn't do that. Number one. And number two, the skills and abilities that the Diabolist gets, don't just say, well, it's magic. You can look at runes. You can look. No, if you want that ability, if you want to enter that underground temple of Yin Sloth and have something identified as if it's magically empowered, that's the Diabolist's role. If you give it to another caster, you've absolutely made the Diabolist impotent. So those are the caveats. And like I said, I've seen that happen. I'm not saying Heathendog would do that. Not even saying Garthon did that, but I've seen that happen.
I would make all Diabolists NPCs.
Okay. And I could see that. It's kind of like the diviner.
Yeah.
In D&D. I could see.
Anything going on in chat? A scout, like a wilderness scout. If you're going from point A to point B, you want someone in your party that knows the area and the safe places and the places that are dangerous and prone to ambush. You get a local wilderness scout to guide you there. You pay him, he does it. If you're going into a dungeon that's a former abode of a lich lord, you hire a Diabolist to help you out and know what's safe, what's not.
See, I like the idea of playing this myself.
Idea, but it's too situational. It's too situational to be fun. You're going to be on a smoke break 80% of the time.
Sure. Now I can't completely resolve that, but I did write. Actually, I think Violence Solves Everything saw it because I didn't post in Discord. I thought I did. I posted over in Gilded because it's forums oriented, and I did post my thoughts on that. So we'll see what you and other people think of kind of my build of the Diabolist, but. I know some people say it's Diabolist. I call it Diabolist. Maybe it's my Minnesota accent. I don't care. Anyway, the character can recognize, read inscriptions, warning, and I'm reading this because this is important for people to know. The character can recognize and read inscriptions, warnings, and instructions written in a number of languages, and we'll see that with the O.C.C., including ancient runes and mystic symbols. Recognize dangerous or helpful magic circles, identify real wards, and determine whether they are energized. Again, I already said that. You can see if something's energized or not have the thief go, please don't blow up in my face. Identify real rune weapons. Now, that should be later on in life. And many magic items by the symbols inscribed on them. This again goes back to stop giving every wizard the ability to read every rune out there and use every word of power out there. There's a reason why summoners know the circles. There's a reason why Diabolists can read everything. Diabolists can create and activate wards to set magical traps and alarms for defending encampments, strategic positions, or valuable possessions. And I think this is where Heathendog's going, where it's situational, right?
Yeah, I mean,
good at defense.
They're wonderful NPCs, wonderful hirelings. I would definitely take them into a large dungeon exploration event as a hireling. Oh, absolutely. I would pay them handsomely. I wouldn't want to play one, but I would pay them handsomely for that instance.
And now finally, furthermore, the Diabolist can read and use most magic scrolls as well as an activated circle. Your summoner goes down, as long as it's activated, you might have some hope.
Yep.
I stress might.
Might. Because you can walk in the circle and use the circle as long as it's still active. And it usually is for either a given amount of time. I think there are some circles that deactivate when the summoner dies, but many of them stay active, and the Diabolist can walk in and just take over.
Now, people don't know where the power words power comes from, and this is where I think it was Violence Solves Everything mentioned that it comes from. Yeah, well, I mean, it could be. I don't know.
In the supplemental books, it says.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm being blissfully ignorant, please.
Okay. All right.
I don't want the old ones. So those who oppose the practice of magic claim therein lies the danger. Okay. So power words are a guarded secret, not only to practitioners of magic, and only the Diabolist and Summoner know all the power words. But I'm a wizard. My Diabolist friend will tell me. No, he will not. So, for the Diabolists, There are key components for the creation of wards instilling the arcane, blah, blah, blah. All right. So here are the words. They don't matter right now. This is a role-playing thing, but it does. What is important is it kind of shows where the limitations, where the strengths and limitations are. All right. So the secrets of runes. See, he's in his office, nice and safe, where he belongs.
Yep.
All right. It's impossible to make rune weapons. Oh, some silly notes about indestructible paper. I thought this was a great thing. I thought it was stupid as hell, but I see why he put it in here. Because you cannot wear indestructible paper armor. Just because the rune makes the paper indestructible. Not going to go into it. Read the book. It tells you why. And the fact that he had to put this in here is why I hate some gamers. Diabolists in armor. Blah, blah, who cares? Now, here are the abilities. Knowledge of power words. No, it's all power words. And power words relate to what he can do with those runes. Literacy, runes. Even at first level, the scribe mage is proficient at reading and understanding 88%. Plus 1 per level, because really, what are you going to do with any more than 1%? Mystic symbology. So, going back to the beginning here, it is the Diabolist doesn't just look at, the written word. A lot of languages have connotations. A lot of languages, like I said, in graphics, we learn the language of color. We learn the language of using certain words. We learn the language of placement. So by knowing those things, like, this was written in red versus green, I know this means it's a warning of some sort. Let's move on to the next thing. So language isn't just the spoken or written word. It could be how something is laid out. And the Diabolist can look at, and it's not necessarily puzzle solving, but definitely clues to a puzzle. So recognize, understand magic circles. We already talked about that. Use magic circles. Thank you, Summoner. Identify energized wards. This to me is just, there's any reason, like, because what's your other option? To hope it doesn't explode? That's the thing, and this isn't to disagree with Heathendog, because obviously this one thing, I would agree with him completely. Then just get an NPC, but it's such an important facet. Again, unless you're a game master, that's like, I just let my thieves do that, or I just let the wizard do it. I don't see why he couldn't. Don't cheapen Diabolist.
Well, now actually, the rogue classes and the wizard classes and the summoner can recognize wards, but this is specifically energized wards.
Yes,
wards
yes,
that are active.
Yeah, because a Diabolist actually, they'll write fake words and not put energy into it. Yeah, they'll be like, look, I did a ward. I even used the actual goo I have to use to make the ward, which is crazy. It's like the pixie wings that you mentioned earlier. That
was a real thing.
What's that?
That's really in the book.
Yeah. But a Diabolist is not affected by his own words. So I can sit in the middle of that saw trap and you're affected by it. Everything's blowing off around me. Fireball here, death trap there, powered blind. Yeah, I'm using a lot of D&D stuff because I know him better. But, all disintegrate, all happening. He's like, what? Oh, you wanted me? I use him as a canary. Recognize magic bonuses, +1 to save versus blah, blah, blah. What really matters is the number of words or phrases that can be energized. First level, 1 per PE. So you can actually make quite a few words even at first level. Yes, most of them take much more than, they take multiple words, etc. But 10, okay, so PPE. Base 2d4 times 10. But that's what's used to fuel them. You're still limited by your PE attribute. In addition to PE, blah, blah, blah. At 2d6 per level. So obviously he doesn't get as much as wizard, but he doesn't need it. Doesn't cast spells. Can read scrolls. Can read scrolls. So there you go. You want to cast your spells? You want that carpet of adhesion? Go buy some scrolls. The money that Heathendog pays me to be an NPC to run around his temples for him and discover all of the the warded areas, I'm now going back and buying some scrolls. Now, what can they do? And this is where I think the character can shine, depending on how your campaign is. Cryptography already at +20%. not only can you read all the nonsense we talked about above, you can read maps. You can read secret writings. You can get into, you're going to be the character that discovers the secrets. Language is native tongue, obviously. Choice of 3 other languages. You're going to be the walking linguist. Literacy Elven. On top of that, so right now you've got 1, 2, 3. Now, to be fair, this is literacy. This is spoken. I get it. Just saying. And then 2 more of choice. Lore, 1 of choice. And I don't know how deep the lore skill goes, but math, sculpt, and whittling. Why is that important? To make your runes. But you really don't have to have this. But if you want to blend them in, if you want to make them harder to discover, if you want to make it so that only a Diabolist can discover it, I shouldn't say only, but difficult for everybody else, because there's a minimum size to wards. I don't know if you read that, Heathendog, but I think it's 1 inch. Like, you can't make a ward smaller than 1 inch, if I remember correctly. So you can't make it microscopic, but hee ward. O.C.C. related. Espionage, the ones that I looked at were medical. Any. Now, that's going to become important in a moment when I talk about, and of course, any weapons except large pole axes. I don't know what the other wizards get. And you can identify plants, fruits, land navigation. Again, this goes to the exploratory portion of it. Secondary skills, same as you pick them from out here. So how wards work, don't care. The size of wards, there you go. Cannot be smaller than 1 inch. And the reason I don't care is because we've kind of talked about, you just expend energy into them. You draw them out, you expend energy into them. But we want to talk about placement as long as it's on there and you can have a sequence. So Heathendog could open up the box. Ward 1 goes off. Well, then he reaches into the box. Ward 2 goes off. Oh my God, my hand's disintegrated. You can set those up in sequence. That would take a little bit of time, but you can do that. If I don't want him touching my porn collection, I can warn either every magazine in there or the box that contains it, and I would have a lot of we'll just say not disintegration. We'll just say size shrinking words on that, so he wouldn't need those magazines anymore.
That's mean, dude.
I protected my porn. Words cannot be placed on weapons. Really, this should read, because it will say this anyway. Words can't be placed on anything you handle a lot, because otherwise, every time you pick it up, hey, can you hand me that pencil? Boom! It's like jokey Smurf time. Let's not do that. Now it talks about affixing wards, how it's glued to rabbit skin glue, eggs, clear wax, tree saps, etc. It's basically saying just as long as you can affix it, you can affix it. We'll get into the fact of like how long you can. Some of them you can just draw in dust. Others you actually have to make out of something important. How long they last. Ward energizing. The number of wards or ward phrases that can be energized 24-hour period is as follows. First level, 1 per PE attribute point. 2 per PE attribute point. At third level, 3 per PE attribute at ninth. And that's because some of your words are going to get bigger. Phrases. Excuse me, let me use the right terms. Phrases are going to get bigger. PPE for energizing. To be empowered with magic, each ward symbol in the ward phrase. So you could have, 5 words in there. Each one has to be energized. In fact, a Diabolist trick is to have a 10-word phrase and only have like 3 of them be activated. So you don't know which ones. Must be energized with 1 PPE point. Only the power and permanence words cost more, 5 and 20 respectively. Yeah, if you want to make something permanent, and we'll get into how long it lasts in a moment. Deliberate ward activation. Because you're a Diabolist, you can activate it intentionally. However, you have to spend PPE because it isn't meant to go off like that. You're meant to be invulnerable to it. So you have to go. And then ward deactivation. You can deactivate it. It costs 5 per each ward. 10 for the power word. Only the permanence ward and wards connected to the ward phrase cannot be deactivated. Once it's energized, it is truly permanent. And wards by other Diabolists cannot be deactivated. That'd be weird if you just had a Diabolist competition of because it takes how long to make the ward and you can just go, it no longer works. That wouldn't be fun. Diabolists are immune to their own stuff. It says it right there. Now, saving throw versus wards, it's going to be based on the level of the Diabolist. Heathendog already told you that it's 14 or higher. However, as they grow in level, 17 or higher is quite rare because Diabolists pretty much, hang out with the summoner too long and get crushed. And so they don't get that high. Ward duration. Most wards, particularly alarm and protection, remain magically potent for centuries. Okay. See, that's a ward created by 5th level Diabolist remains at 5th level proficiency, even though 100 years may have passed and the Diabolist is now 12th level. 100 years?
Hey,
that must be an elf. Yeah, this is going to have to be an elf. All right. A power ward doubles all magic effects, including duration. Permanence ward causes magical effect to last forever. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Talks about the ward phrasing. I'm not going to get into this, mostly because I haven't drawn it out, but this is just how the Diabolist does it. Hopefully this isn't the part that confuses you, because this is just something you work with your game master. It's like doing a rote in Mage the Ascension. I want to do this. What do I need? You will need this, or you just draw it out for the game master. Say these 3 ward should provide this effect. The game master says, makes sense. Yes. And it talks about some example ones here. A silent alarm when disturbed is 1 ward. And it explains why. A trigger by condition evil. So an evil person triggers this. And it's an area of effect at double damage and range. So obviously added power word on there. That would require 6 word, word phrase. That would be a 6 word phrase. There we go. Not 6 phrases. So cannot just use 1 condition word like blind or agony to create a magical effect. Only alarm words can be used individually. So everything else has to be 2 or more. All right, and here are your runes. Hopefully that's enough. Again, without read it. If this interests you, read it. Now here are the things that are required. So let's find your pixie wings. Well, permanence must be carved from the bone of a dragon, demon, devil.
Devil.
No, this one just says devil.
No, it doesn't.
Mine does.
Nope.
Here.
Oh, that one says devil. Oh, the other permanence on the other side says devil.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is there a second one? Okay, we'll look at that in a moment. Word must be carved from a bone, dragon, devil, godling, or god. Hey, God, can I have your bone, please? Good luck with that. That's just an example of protection by infliction. You can draw it with sawdust or wood. See, some of these are pretty easy. These protection alarm ones are pretty easy. When you want to start blowing up other people, that's when it becomes more difficult. Ward creation time. It takes, assume the components. So if you don't have the components, if they are not, it's add 20 minutes to the creation time if you don't have the components, because you have to actually put the components together. We'll get to each specific. I read the time. I thought it was right here. Okay, maybe that's over here.
Yeah, listen to that.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, it's right here.
Nerdy ogre. Yeah, we're not going to talk about an struggle. It's stupid. We're not talking.
Yeah, it's stupid. And you can read the book on that. We commented on that a little bit earlier, but we're not going to talk about indestructible paper. No. If you want area of effect, it takes 1 melee round. If you carve it, it'll be 2 hours. But there's a difference. Painting and drawings fade over time. Carving, that's a little hard to fade. You have to chisel that in. All right, destroying wards. Anybody can eliminate a spent ward. Anybody. Heathendog can walk right up there and
just break it, or erase it, or whatever.
However, destroying an energized ward without activating it is extremely difficult. Make your save. Because most wards are set up the instant they or the object they're inscribed upon is touched. That's why you can't inscribe them on weapons. I'm sure theoretically you could. It would just be really stupid. Only the Diabolists who made it can deactivate the magic, as we already said, safely. The only exceptions are words made of loose powdered dust written in the dirt. That's why I wanted to say earlier, or why I said a moment ago, went into the whole fact that, hey, some things aren't permanent. The runic language is fun. It's just English. Lots of runes in the art say funny things like Rift's line walker belt that says lobotomize me. Okay. I mean, that's how most fantasy languages work, as you're just using a different alphabet for English. Yeah. And to be fair, that's how all my languages work. I just use different phonetics.
Plus now you can look through the book and find the Easter eggs.
There you go. All right, let's skip some ward limitations and reminders, and we're almost done with this part. Wards are primarily defensive and protection magic, which is why I think Heathendog says it's not I don't want to say viable. It's not an effective character for adventuring because you have to have time to set it up. Word is typically activated the moment the warded object is touched or disturbed. Disturbed includes trying to open a box or package, taking the item from its resting place. I didn't touch the box. And shut up. They cannot be used to turn a weapon into a magic item, but can be placed on a weapon to put in storage to protect it from thieves. Do you understand the difference there?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I know you do. Words cannot be placed on any object that is handled frequently. Words cannot be painted on fabric to be unrolled at the moment of crisis. I got my portable.
No Naruto scroll things going on. Come on.
No portable hole just wrapped up there. Nor can they be inscribed on discs, stones, arrows, weapons, or objects used as hand grenades.
Man.
It's a static device.
They just want to make sure, just drive home the 90% uselessness of this class. Just drive it home.
Area effect words, cannot be placed on living beings, but only area of effect words. And somewhere else in here it actually talks about putting them on living beings. You can protect yourself, but you can't explode. A ward symbol can only be energized and used at, by the way, I didn't say this. Thank you, weird guy, for the $5. I know you read the super chat out, but thank you for the $5. Appreciate that. A ward symbol can only be energized and used as a magic ward once. I did find this odd, but it explains it here in just a second. After it's been triggered and its magic unleashed, the symbol is harmless and cannot be energized again. And here's the explanation. We don't know why. So, some player is going to argue. Okay.
Why? Because.
You don't know.
Because. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Although the
class.
God, my freaking back. Although the word symbol can only be magically energized once, many components used to make the word, like silver and gold dust, powdered stone, can be reused. Diabolists is immune to magic, and only the ward creator can deactivate or de-energize. That was just a reminder. Here are the alarms, the descriptions, the conditions. We've talked enough about this. Here are the symbols. I like this kind of stuff. I'm kind of a nerd for this. I like these things. I can't draw that well, though. And the numbers are really useful for like when you're sequencing things. Now, let's look at one word. That's all we're going to do is we're going to look at one word. Or one condition. We're going to look at the agony condition. This word inflicts agonizing, stabbing pain. By the way, this is a pretty tough one. Stabbing pain in the head, neck, and stomach, but leaves no evidence of physical damage. It's death punch. Damage is 2d4 per level Diabolist. The victim loses initiative, all combat bonuses, and all but one attack per melee round. Now remember, you're like, oh, that's awesome. This is a defensive thing. This is what happens when they lift the gate. The enemy lifts the gate, and he walks through. And, when he lifted the gate, he's now in agony. Now, his friends still, unless you have an area of effect on this, his friends still can walk through. Now, if you put an area of effect on it, all his friends are feeling this as well. Roll save, of course. Speed and skill performance are reduced by half. So all your percentages, oh man, look at this, I got a 50%. Nope, you have a 25%, pal. And the duration is two melee rounds per level Diabolist. So it doesn't actually last a long time, but here's the thing. Like Carpet of Adhesion, you've got somebody kind of stuck in an area for a while. Follow this up with a fireball. I know, somebody's going to yell at me for keep saying fireball. I don't care. But some sort of area of effect, a boom boom spell or psychic ability. And guess what? This is almost as good as Carpet of Adhesion. Almost. I stress the word almost. All right. So yeah, ward used with blah, blah, blah. And you can see some of these other ones. I mean, you got death with a -20 to save.
That's if you actually die. It does damage directly to hit points, but if it doesn't kill you, you don't actually die.
And here are the symbols, again, role-playing things. I mean, a lot of theater of the mind people probably won't use this. Because if you actually gave this to a player anyway, oh, I know what page of the book that's on. It means this. So I would personally change these up, but I like them.
Wait, scroll up.
What?
So look at the symbol for man. It's a stick figure. Symbol for woman is a stick figure with no hands. You know why? Because women aren't supposed to own things. What do they need hands for?
Ooh, there was one other one in here I saw that I thought was funny, and I can't remember which one it is. And I'm not going to go look for it, but I was looking at some of these, and I was like, really? It was the birthing one, the one for birth. Where's that? That might be up here. Um. Oh, it's in the black. Yeah. Oh, oops, I just scrolled too far. There we go. Earth. It's basically two spread legs. All right. With something falling out of them, you know. So, it talks about more about wards, protection wards, how to use them, and now we're on the summoner. So there we go. I'm going to let Heathendog go first before I give my final thoughts on the Diabolist, because I did a lot of yapping there. And just I want to say up front, I understand Heathendog's perspective on this, and I think I agree with about 90% of what he says, but I will say that you can make this a viable class.
Okay. Viable class, sure, why not? Just like in D&D second edition, you can play a diviner specialist. You can do it. Viable means it's possible. Yep. Do you want to?
And effective. For me, viable means you have to be able to survive and play and
survive and play the game. Sure. Effective? No. A second edition AD&D diviner and a Diabolist in Palladium Fantasy second edition have something in common. They're not effective. 90% of the time, they are ineffective. Worthless. A drain on resources, taking food and air from good and decent folk that actually pull the line. Now, that 10% of the time, the Diabolist is great. There's only one problem, though. The Diabolist can identify an energized ward, tell you what it does, but he can't do anything about it. He can't de-energize it unless you put it there, which he didn't. He can't set it off safely. Nope. He says, "Oh yeah, that right there. It's a ward of death. We have to go through here because that's the treasure where we want to get to. So someone's got to set it off. We'll be over there." Dick. So yeah, in the end, NPC. 100%. Any player character who plays a Diabolist is going to somehow, at some point or another, get everyone's ire. Just because they're all going to realize that the situation where he's actually useful and pulling his weight is so few and far between that why am I sharing gold with this idiot? Get out. I'll just hire somebody when we need a Diabolist and give him a pittance. That's it.
Okay.
Worthless class.
So one of the things I accidentally skipped, and I'm looking at my notes right now, and I can't believe I skipped that. So I already said this, but I'm gonna kind of go back to the beginning. I'm looking at my notes over here. In a pitched battle, 100%. If you're looking to throw fireballs, if you're looking for a ranged combatant, this is not the O.C.C. for you. If that's what you're expecting out of it, you're not going to get, unless you give your Diabolist scrolls, which I would, but that's up to you. Obviously, prepared defense, as Heathendog is basically stated here, that's something, not every game master is going to do, and that's kind of a niche idea. You're not going to be sitting every time like, all right, let him come to the castle. I mean, you could do that in a dungeon. You could have a fallback location that as you go forward, you come across the bad nasties, you fall back. So there are ways you could do that. I don't believe so. I would play one, but with some caveats. Exploration. The Diabolist is able to recognize inscription symbols and wards, things that are very important, unless you're the type of game master that's just like, you know what, I don't like to deal with those, or I think they're too powerful, or they just screw over the party. I mean, if you take them out, then yeah, then you've neutered the Diabolist. But your game, your rules, I get that, and maybe you don't like to mess with them. If it's not a prevalent part of your game, then just make sure you tell the person who wants to play the Diabolist, I really don't deal with these that much because I don't like the effects on the game. And I could see somebody doing that. That's like saying there are too many traps in Dungeons & Dragons. And I actually do believe that sometimes when literally every room you walk into, like 7 traps, there can be too many. I don't like Grimtooth's traps, even though I own the book, because they don't make sense to me. I don't like traps that turn an entire freaking pyramid upside down and anti-gravity wells and you fall. I don't like that stuff. So I can see some of that. However, where was I here? course, yes, the Diabolist doesn't set off his own wards. We already talked about that. Able to understand languages. That's a big one. Unless, of course, again, yes, there was a language spell. I saw it, but that requires the PPE. That requires the character to want to use it. Requires the character to have it. This character already has like what 5 languages we saw.
Three,
and then
three spoken, 3 written.
That's well 4 because native also.
Oh, native. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
4 spoken,
Either way.
4 written.
Yeah, either way, it's 3, 4, whatever. I mean, that's still quite a bit. You could probably take more secondary skills. Gets hand-to-hand basic. Somebody put in chat you can take expert in martial arts. You cannot with the Diabolist. It says it's limited to hand-to-hand basic. 1 weapon proficiency, which is fine. That means I can still thwack things on the head, and I'll still get my bonus like at levels 2, 5, 8, whatever. Now, this is what I would do. I would take the skills biology, holistic medicine, and surgeon. So while you're in combat getting your ass beat, and while there isn't much I can do to fling fireballs at people, I can drag your body back, I can keep you in a safe location, and I can heal your butt. Yes, it's healing over. It's not instantaneous, healing spells, but I can pull you out of there. And I can ward myself enough, obviously I can't go boom, boom, but I can ward myself enough to be protected from, say, fire or arrows or whatnot coming at me, at least to a point. And I think that, again, is it perfect? No. So yeah, the 2 notes I have on here is the GM cannot assume magic is magic is magic. The Diabolist has a useful and necessary role that is cheapened by a GM who lets other practitioners of magic usurp the Diabolist role. In terms of exploration, the Diabolist is incredible. The Diabolist can actually, another thing I didn't mention, the Diabolist can find traps or secret doors. Sorry. Has that thief ability to find secret doors. Another thing I didn't read earlier, I for some reason didn't go through the O.C.C. skills. The GM needs to understand that not everything can be aggressive combat. The players may go in their own direction, sure, but there needs to be a meaningful effort to allow the Diabolist to shine in defense. If that can't happen, then again, I'm on Heathendog's side 100%, where then this is not a good class to play. But if you can set up those situations, like I said, you can do it within a dungeon. You just have a fallback point. If you build that up, you can still have fun with the Diabolist. Collect the ingredients to make the stuff. So, I mean, I'm not saying this is the greatest class ever. I'm not saying everybody should play it, and I'm not saying it should be in everybody's game, but I think it is more than, or can be more than just an NPC if played well. So, I'd like to know.
I believe it has a place in the world.
Oh, did he freeze? Did I freeze? Hello? What happened? I'm waiting to see if somebody in chat can type, because I don't know if he froze or I froze, but he is absolutely frozen on my screen. Max is fine. HD died. Okay. I'll give him a chance to come back here. Yeah, I just want to make sure it wasn't me, because I've had a couple little internet issues of late. Okay. When Heathendog comes back, it's like, let me do this for now. Yep. Okay. It looks at. I wonder if his computer locked up on. Hopefully he'll be back in a moment. You can't hear me? I am moving. Can you not hear me? Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Double shift focus. Language and first. Yeah. That's my. Okay. Violence says he can hear me. Okay, good. All right. So maybe some people are he'll be back. He might have to reboot his computer. He'll be back. Diablo should focus. Runes, language, and first aid. If you do that, you're a viable character. If you decide, or, and if you pick a couple extra languages on there, there's something else I was saying, but yeah, I should have actually shown, and maybe this is what I'll do. I'll do this while Heathendog is frozen for a moment. I'm going to bring this back up. See, he was so angry with my thoughts about the Diabolists. And by the way, just so you guys know in chat, when we were having the discussion earlier about elementals, one of the reasons I kept pushing that is I wanted to see what people in chat were saying. I want to see, no, Heathendog's right. No, Max is right. Like that's part of why we do that. So where is Diabolist, O.C.C. So rogue plus 10% on locate secret compartments. Right there. So yeah, I mean, there are things it's not going to replace your thief, but this is really a jack of all trades, master of none, and I like classes like that as long as it's useful. And I would say this class is useful depending on your type of campaign. That's there's some that are always going to be useful. A man of arms is almost always going to be useful in some situation. But let's be fair, how many knights are good inside dungeons? So identify plants, fruits, land navigation. I didn't even talk about. I just took the minimum. I just took biology, holistic medicine, and surgeon. But now, you identify plants and fruits is another. If you can be kind of the everyman, I have wide knowledge, maybe not deep knowledge, other than wards. I mean, I'm not saying this is the only character that would have this, but you could make up for the lack of a druid or ranger or something. I mean, there are things you can do, is my point, depending on how the other characters are built. I don't fully disagree with Heathendog. I do think that there are places, that this wouldn't fit in every campaign. And not every player is going to enjoy playing this type of character. But I think that it is viable. And by viable, I mean not min-maxed, not the best of everything, not the perfect for whatever situation, but I feel it's viable as in it is useful if you build it to be useful. So. Elementals are weaker than normal wizards. It's nice to be given a free spell every level, but they feel a bit weak. Okay. I'm with you. I like seeing that. Hold on. Gotta put that on the screen. You're not getting banned. 6 to 12 players? God, I'd never run a group of 12 players. I do like my group size is 5 to 7 plus game master. 8 players and higher gets weird for me, and I don't like 4 or less because I feel everybody has to be so overly specialized to be interesting. But I do like 6 and 7 for sure. I really do like those group sizes. 12, I tried a TMNT game with 10, and that was too much for me. So that was absolutely crazy. Welcome back.
Yeah, this is the only PC in my house that does not have a battery backup.
Oh, did you lose power?
Yeah, we lost power for about 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, well, welcome back. You were saying something. I was trying to fill in the dead air time there so you could come back and say what you were saying. I don't even remember what you were talking about. We'd have to go back. Do you remember what you're talking about?
I was saying that the Diabolist does have a role in the world. The Diabolist is useful in the world of Palladium, a world that is infused at all times with some level of magic and mystery, and the Diabolist has a place just as a hireling. That's it.
Librarian.
Yeah, you hire someone who knows all of these wards and stuff to go into the magically ward place with you to point out the bad stuff. That's it. That's what you do. If you are a Diabolist player character, you're going to spend most of your time feeling useless, and most of the time the other player characters are going to feel like you're useless as well. When you are useful, you're very useful, but that's so far and few between in most campaigns, the way they're run, that unless the game master purposely goes out of his way to make you shine every once in a while, you're a broken clock.
But that's why I was saying build the Diabolist wide instead of deep. You have all these outside these support skills. Like I said, I was going with the
you could do that with anyone though. I mean, come
to some
on.
degree, yeah, you could.
Yeah, you could do that with an actual useful class too.
But a lot of times people don't. And again, I don't know if you were here when I said it, but like that locate secret compartments.
That's what a thief is for.
Sure, but the thief fails. Now you got to back up.
Well, but the thief has a better chance of not failing. So, if the thief failed,
I don't like to rely on one character for anything. That's why, again, but then again, I don't like games of just 4 people. I like games of 6 or 7.
A diverse party is always great, but there are some things that someone specializes in, and if they fail, or if the role is secret and said no, you don't see any traps, Are you going to say, no, the thief is full of shit? No, he's there
Did you
for a
not play in
reason.
our Palladium games where every time somebody rolled, I want to try too?
Well,
I
that's not
hated
the
that.
way it's supposed to be. That
I
does
know.
not form party cohesion. It just means you don't trust me as a thief. Why am I here?
No, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But we did have that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm basing it on. Or these people are like, well, hold on, he did. I want to do it too. But then again, there's also that thing if you using a skill successfully, blah blah blah. Where's my skills? So, all right. Diablo. No, it's not Diablo. It's Diabolist. All right. Well, by the way, that segment was over 2 hours. 2 hours. This is going to be a long cut, but we covered. Is there anything? And a lot of you guys in chat know Palladium, so give us your final comments right now. Is there anything we missed? And I don't mean some nuanced thing. I mean something important that we missed with regard to Magic and the Diabolist. Yeah, because those are the two.
Generally Magic,
Yeah.
and specifically the Diabolist or Summoner. Like, there's a lot of stuff in Magic we breezed over for a reason.
Yeah, but I mean, that's important for somebody to know who sat through a 2-hour-long video, to figure out what all this was about. Because next week we're going to do psychics and maybe add in clergy, depending on how long that takes. And we're going to do psychics very similarly to this.
Psychics in Palladium is basically OP. Really is. I mean,
every game they're OP.
Yeah, okay, but man, if you're playing a Palladium game, you should want to be a psychic. I mean, the only downside is that their real life skills are shit, but in investigation they got powers, in combat they got powers, in survival they have powers. They are a giant tool bag with every tool in it.
And to answer Weird Guy's question, I mean, we didn't dive into it, but we did talk about ley lines. Yeah,
early on we actually did. You came here a little late. I talked about ley lines.
He actually did.
Magic, Nexi, and places of power, because placed on Nexus points for reasons.
Pyramids and Stonehenge. Yep.
Yeah, we talked about all that.
All right, I'm going to give a few more seconds just for people who, because it seems like some of the chat might be delayed a little bit more than normal. To see if anybody has any final things they think we missed. Because again, some of these people in our chat know Palladium even better than us. Definitely better than me. I mean, I like Palladium, but I didn't live it. Heathendog lived it more than I did. So,
Cynocephalus. I don't know about how to feel about the Diabolist and Summoner O.C.C.s. They are cool inside the setting lore, but they are implemented so poorly as player characters. Feels like a missed opportunity. I wouldn't say implemented poorly. I would say that the powers and abilities they are given are not broad enough to make them attractive player characters.
You have to want to be one.
Yeah, almost every other O.C.C. has something that's attractive about it. Like, I want to play it because of this. I want to play because of that. If you want to play a Diabolist, I want to be a book nerd useful 10% of the time. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
There's a mind melter in Palladium Fantasy?
Well, no, it's a mind something. It's not a mind melter. That's a rift thing. But there is a what is it called? Hang on. I can't get my mouse to work. What the hell? Oh, there we go.
It's still power's still out for the mouse.
Power's still out for the mouse. Oh God, no. Let's see.
I hate the Mind Mage.
Mind Master or Master Psychic or something like that. Mind Mage.
I hate the Mind Mage.
Mind Mage is the mind melter of Palladium Fantasy.
Is that the one that does both?
No, that's the Psy Mystic.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, then that's the one I hate.
That's the one you hate. No, Mind Mage is the uber powerful psychic.
Leyline Rifters are OP. Well, Heathendog likes to play them, so yeah, you're probably right.
No, Leyline Walkers.
Yeah,
are super powerful. All around jack of all trades, master of most in rifts. Yes, Rifters, or they're actually called shifters in
Oh, you
in
hate
Rift
shifters.
are
You have a
awful.
video on shifters.
They're awful. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're just stupid.
And they're wrong for very similar reasons as the summoner.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a box of chocolates that you know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a razor blade.
See, I like see. Let me back. I like that in the game. I like the fact that there's some inherent danger with using the magic. The problem with the Palladium ones is there are really only two magic classes that you kind of want to be: the wizard and the warlock. Like the witch, the Diabolist. Now, I said the Diabolist, and I would play a Diabolist, but let's be fair. Heathendog is mostly right in this one. It's not as flashy. It's not as great. It's not as, unless you're handing out scrolls like, candy, what's the Diabolist going to do? Again, scrolls make up for a lot of ideas or a lot of weaknesses. But the Warlock and the Wizard are really the only two. After that, you start getting into this, when are you going to eat me, or when are you going to fail and we all die?
Yeah, yeah. Or when are you going to be useful? I mean, a warlock can summon creatures to help, and the creatures like him, right? So I'm a summoner, only I'm not a danger to everyone around me at any moment. And the witch has a pact with a repeatedly stated evil supernatural force. That is just a grenade with the pin out. When is the witch going to drop that grenade?
The problem with this comment is that's boring to me, and then don't put it in the main book or put it in the back in like a game master section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Witches, Diabolists, summoners, they should all be they should have been NPC, or at the very least parenthetically optional.
Well, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show up.
I believe the witch is parenthetically optional.
Yeah, not even parenthetically. There were no parentheses. It's just said
optional.
it.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm going to put this up here. Go ahead and come to our Discord and let's talk about how would we make the Diabolist without. I'm not talking overhauls. What tweaks could be made to the Diabolist, the Summoner, and the Witch? Well, okay, not the Witch. The Diabolist and the Summoner. What things do you guys in chat would say that would make them viable player characters without making them OP? What would you give them? What would you take away? What would you change that would say, okay, this doesn't make him better than the Wizard, just makes him different than the Wizard and still viable? Because I love the idea of the Diabolist.